The city is so lively. As I pressed record, there's like city workers that started, so you might hear some noise. Hello, you beautiful people. Today's gonna be show and tell, or rather paint and tell. I'm gonna finish that painting, got a little thing to do. I'm gonna explain to you my techniques, brushes I use, color mixing, and this video is as much for you that wants to start painting, have no clue where to start. You that's been painting for a while, maybe you're stagnant, maybe you want to try something new. Oh yeah, I'm completely self-taught. If you have any tips and tricks yourself, please write it down in the comments and let's grow and learn as a community. The beautiful thing about art is there's no right or wrong way to do things. It's just your way to do things. Of course, I mean, there's some basics that you need to master in order to make a painting. But then again, if you want to paint with the back end of the brush, be my guest, do your thing. Hi, my name is Jonathan Bourassa and I've been creating things for the past 20 years. My channel is all about the art of living and art that you put on your wall. And right now, I'm obsessed with birds. And that's the little guy I have to do today. And I'll show you a little bit of my techniques, but obviously this technique doesn't just apply to do birds. You gotta apply it to anything you want. All right, let's do the palette. I don't want to have to remix all the time because it's always going to be like so slightly different. So I make a bigger batch. So for the bird, this little tray here will more than suffice. There's a lot of gray, there's a lot of brown, beige. I see a little bit of green on some pictures. I'm going to make a mess, aren't I? Let's try that. Not so bad, okay. So it's reddish brown, a little bit of ochre. This I use to thin the paint because, again, it's acrylic. Sometimes it's a little bit chunky and really annoying to work with. And it keeps it from drying too fast as well. And it gives a matte finish. I really like this stuff. I highly suggest that you buy your primary colors to mix your own color for a while. I did it for 1 full year and that just helped me out immensely. And then you buy black and white on the side. If you know how to make them, it's much cheaper and it's very satisfying to be able to build your own colors. The best way I could describe what I do, if we must give it a name, would be intuitive painting. It's not realism, but it's based on realistic stuff. And I just put my own story to it. Because all of my paintings have a story. The cool thing about it is you can look at the same painting that I do, and we both see completely different things. So basically, I look at something real and I make my own version of it. I like to see imperfections, like the brush strokes, mix different media. I think for me that's what looks the best. So the first layer is quite simple. You don't want to put the details yet because you're gonna get back to it later. If you start putting the details now, you're gonna lose those details in the bigger strokes. So you start just by putting the foundation of the subject you want to do. So you'll see it's very transparent because I use that gooey white stuff you saw before. So basically it's really simple. I'm just applying every colors. It's not to have like a finished product. It's really just laying my foundation. And at some point I get in the flow. Talked about that before in another video. The flow is when you get into a zone of focus so deep that even like time doesn't matter anymore. How I accomplish flow in my sessions is when I listen to music. I have a playlist and the songs varies from Ed Sheeran to 9 Inch Nails. And that playlist is all about songs that got me in the flow before. I'll just play the playlist and at some point something's gonna hook me and then I'm gonna put that thing on repeat. I'm gonna put that thing on repeat, put that thing on repeat for the whole session. I know it sounds weird, but it's what gets me in the flow. For you, it could be something different. Classical music, silence, or I don't know, just screaming maybe. Again, this is just the first layer, so it doesn't matter if it's a little bit dirty because I'm gonna go back about 3-4 times. But yeah, for the flow phase, you know, you should really explore and see what works for you to keep your focus while you experiment with art. For me, every painting I start is an experiment. I don't know if it's gonna see the walls of my little gallery and I'm gonna show it to people. I'm never sure of that because I like to say that you're always one brush stroke away to hate your painting and you're one away to love it. And when it's all wet, at some point you need to stop, because you're really gonna mess it up. To me, painting is a love-hate relationship. Like right now, I'm looking at that thing, I'm like, what the hell am I doing right now? It's like I'm starting over every time, like I've never painted before. And at some point, something kind of clicks, and you're like, oh yeah, okay, that's where I'm going. I mean, obviously, patience is required to tackle this kind of stuff, but really, any endeavor in your life that you want to pursue, if you want results, you need to... If you want good results, you could have any results you want. If you want good results, you have no choice. Patience, discipline, and practice. You see how this is starting to take shape. I just had it a little bit of green, and you're starting to see texture coming. When acrylic starts to dry, kind of every stroke you give, it's gonna drag a little bit the paint that you put before. So when you work faster with this little gooey stuff that I put that slows down the drying process, it kind of makes those streaks, which is something I learned by trial and error. Lots of error. Lots of them. It's fine. I have nothing else to do. That's all I want to do. So I put a lot of texture and then I come back with white and you see what it does. It makes those very subtle shadows. You need to learn also when to let go of your painting and just you can, if it's big enough, you can move on to another area. You could use the water also if you would just want to make like this kind of effect. Just dilute your paint with water. I'm not finishing this in one day because I like to look at it and pounder on it and then come back. So this is how far I got today. Couple of hours done. Much more to go. But now I want to talk about brushes. This is like any careers in the art world. Whether it's videography, cinematography, tattoos, musician, talking about gear can be really boring. But if I must say, the best brush to use is the brush you have. And if you don't have one, well, just use something else. But if you're aiming for a very specific effect, there's some specific brush you could buy. But if you go down that rabbit hole, it's gonna be very expensive, very fast. You're gonna use them a couple of times because it's gonna be new. You always go back to the basics. So this is my go-to brush. I got a long one for line work, small details, and this is no particular brand. I use synthetic hairs. I don't use natural hairs. I tried them, I don't really like it. Price range goes from $50 to $3 a brush. Like this one I love, costed me I think like $2. So do experiment on different brushes, but I would say especially at the beginning, don't waste too much money. Try to master the basics and then after try to explore a little more. If you're new at this and painting is something you actually would like to start, it's quite easy and not too expensive. You just need a canvas, whether it's paper, wood, fabric, whatever it is. Then you need 3 colors, red, yellow, and blue. You mix those 3, you're gonna be able to create the whole palette. Then you can add black and white to get your darks and your lighter shades. I would say 3 brushes, one medium, one square one, and one a little more pointy for smaller details. Don't buy huge canvas as well because you don't want to waste your money by not finishing them. Oh yeah, you need one last thing. Just your imagination. And trust me, I went through the rabbit hole of buying a bunch of shit I didn't need. Now I just have all these things I never use. Start small and build on it. Just like any habits. If there's anything you would like me to cover, subjects, you have questions, you want me to try something and review a product, just let me know in the comments and I will gladly oblige. And I'll show you the result of that in the next video. I'll make a time lapse with the rest of the details. So now, my creative friends, go make our world more beautiful one creation at a time. Thank you so much for watching my video. This means the world to me. Like if you found any value, subscribe if you haven't yet, and I mean, you have to if you want to see the final result of that. And remember, it's always a great time to become the other. I'll speak to you soon. Here's a couple more videos you should check out. See ya!